January the worst month of the year, possibly? Is it? I don't know. I don't really have a worst month. Anyway, we're halfway through January. I always try and make small talk at the very start of my videos because YouTube has got a habit of cutting the very start off. So if I start launching into something, then it always cuts it off. So, small talk. Talk about days of the month, months of the year, even. Anyway, I am Connie. I am a professional furniture painter. I am also a Dixie Belle brand ambassador, hence why I'm live on the Dixie Belle YouTube channel today. This is my regular slot. I'm live here every week, and I know a few of you join me. Lots of you watch the replay. So if you're watching the replay, say hi in the comments. Also, as you're watching, if you do have any questions about any of the things that I'm using or doing, please drop them in the comments, because I come back to the comments sort of like a day or two after I've been live, just to make sure there's no questions or anything. Or if there is a very pressing matter that you want me to try and answer for you, then head over to my social media channels. Facebook and Instagram are probably the two that I use the most. Drop me a message on one of those two if you need any technical help, or if you want to just say hi, feel free to do so. So like I say, I'm Connie. I'm a brand ambassador for Dixie Belle Paint, and over the next few weeks, I'm going back to basics with a few of the Dixie Belle products. Now, the reason for that is because I'm the first person that's ever been live on the Dixie Belle YouTube channel. If you look back on the sort of pre-recorded videos, there's absolutely loads and loads and loads and loads of content on there for you to look back at and be inspired by. Good morning. Hello. A few people are saying morning. So there's loads of content for you to go back. The back catalogue on Dixie Belle's YouTube channel is very extensive. But I'm the first person to go live. And also the Dixie Belle YouTube channel has grown significantly over the last few months. So there's a lot of new faces, a lot of new subscribers, people that may have seen something and don't really know where to start or what the products are. So I'm kind of just start of the year, start of 2023, I'm just going back to basics on a few products. So some of you that have got more experience with Dixie Belle or might have been painting for a while, this might be old news to you. So I apologise if that is the case. But we've all got to start somewhere, haven't we? And I am very good at explaining things on a very basic level. When I worked in retail, I always could sort of if somebody came into the shop and wanted to know something and had no prior knowledge, I was quite good at explaining something to them. So I feel like I'm quite good at the back to basics kind of thing. I think it's because I tend to be quite to the point. Do I? I don't know. I feel like I am. Anyway, enough of the waffle. Today's video is about Slick Stick. So if you want to know, hi Lisa, good morning. If you want to know about what I've been covering in the last few sort of episodes, weeks, I've covered Big Mama's Butter, that was last week, and the week before I covered Dixie Belle's White Lightning, which is their cleaning product. So this is going to cover prep. So Slick Stick is part, or can be part of your prep. Now, Slick Stick is a product that doesn't need to be used all of the time. It is a problem-solving product. It comes in a tub like this. So this is a 16-ounce tub. You can also get it in a 32-ounce. It comes in white. It is only one colour. It comes in white, and it is for... Basically, it helps you paint products or pieces or things or objects that you would ordinarily struggle to get paint to stick onto. So traditionally speaking, chalk paint, chalk mineral paint, silk paint and terra paint is designed for furniture. Dixie Belle is a furniture paint. However, small items, craft items, metal items, plastic items, glass items can be equally as fun to upcycle. And also, if you are starting out, they make a really, really good place to start out. A simple project for you to do. It's nice, quick and easy thing to do, like a smaller thing that you might be able to thrift from a charity store. makes a really good place to start. I started out small. The first thing that I painted was a mirror. Then I went on to like a sort of a mini wall shelf, and I actually still have it, and I kept it because it's my great aunt's. And I look back now and I think, wow, there was a lot to learn back then. So I've been painting furniture for over 6 years now. And one day I am going to strip that piece back and repaint it because I don't like it. As is often the case when we start out, you grow and you learn things and then things change. So, what was I saying? You'll have to excuse my croaky voice. I've got a heater and it makes the air quite dry, and I'm just getting, well, I've had a head cold lingering, so it kind of makes my throat a bit croaky. So small pieces that you can pick up can be really good places to start with your upcycling venture or experimenting on a new technique. Maybe you've been painting furniture for ages, but you want to start trying something out new. Maybe you've never done texture before. Maybe you've never done a certain colour scheme or a colour palette before. So small pieces that you can pick up cheap, really, really good place to start. However, sometimes they might be made of something that you think, I don't think chalk paint's going to adhere to that very well. Or you might want to use silk mineral paint and you think, yep, that's not going to work. So this is where Slick Stick comes in. So Slick Stick is your primer for making your paint stick to weird surfaces. And what I mean by weird is basically anything that isn't wooden. So a traditional chest of drawers, wardrobe, dresser, whatever you want to call them. Usually you would find that they're made out of solid wood or a veneer, which is wood, but it's just a very thin layer of wood which is stuck over the top of another type of wood. So they're normally made out of wood. You just clean them, you can scuff sand them, and you can get ready to paint them. However, these days furniture is made out of lots of different things. So we've got recently IKEA pieces are making it into the sort of upcycled world, if you like. People want to get more out of their IKEA pieces, or they might want to repurpose them or repaint them. And Slick Stick is perfect for IKEA pieces because they usually have that very slick, shiny surface. So anything that is basically non-porous. So I've got a few examples, but the list is pretty much endless. And this is also a really good product if you can't sand. So if you can't sand for health reasons, if you can't sand, if you've got a big piece and it's inside and you can't move it out, or you can't sand inside for whatever reason, this can also be used in place of sanding. Now, it's probably not best practice to always use this. I certainly don't, but there have been a few instances where I can think of one. It was a very heavily carved piece, and I thought, I'm not sanding that. There's no way I'm sanding that. So I use Slick Stick to stop the sanding, and then I could just go ahead and paint. So a couple of examples. These are all charity shop finds as well. Every single one of these is a charity shop find, and all of them were under £10. So this is a plain white ceramic jug. This is actually an IKEA piece, so it's not old. It's very boring, it's very plain, and it's very shiny. If you try to put any kind of paint on here, it would probably chip and peel after time. So Slick Stick is perfect for something like this. This was also another jug, but this is metal. So you can paint metal with Slick Stick, and then you can paint as normal. So that was another charity shop find. The frame behind, that you can just see peeping out there, that's got a pane of glass in it. So it had a picture in. I took the picture out, and I've actually got some Dixie Belle decoupage paper in there because I had to do like a mystery box challenge, and I had to use every single product in the mystery box. So I put it in a frame and staged with the paper because I couldn't use it on my actual piece. So that is glass. Again, if you wanted to make your own art, or you wanted to make a chalkboard, you could paint over the glass with Slick Stick. And then you've got a blank canvas where you can create your own wall art. Equally, the frame on this isn't wooden, it's resin made to look like wood. So it's some kind of plastic, I think. Again, if you wanted to change the colour of that frame, you could slick stick it and then you can paint over it and create your own colour scheme for the frame. And then the little piece at the bottom is something that I actually picked up at the weekend and I love it. I really, really love this little table. I don't know what it is about it. It's not old. It's not even wood. It's made out of some, well, the drawers are wood, but that's not wood. So it's got some kind of coating on it. Can you see how shiny and slick that surface is? The top is also, I'll bring you in a bit closer. The top is also like a sort of laminate. I have no idea what it is, but I know it's not solid wood. Because I can see where it's been knocked and I can see MDF underneath it. I can just see it peeking out here. So these pieces are all really, really inexpensive pieces that you can pick up. That table was the most expensive piece and that was £10. All of the others were like £2 or £3 that I pick up every now and again to do little kind of in-between projects on, or to showcase a new technique, or to try new techniques out. Like I'm still trying all new techniques out and things like that. So if you want to apply your slick stick, what do you do? So I'll tell you what I do, but there's not really a right or wrong way of applying it. You can use pretty much any of the Dixie Belle tools to apply slick stick. So I'll quickly run through these. You've got a chip brush here, which is a natural bristle brush. I can never say that. You've got a foam and dandy brush, which comes in 3 sizes. And that, as you can see, is just like a foam pad. And they work really well with slick stick. You can use a scarlet brush. You can use a synthetic brush. Or like I say, you can use your chip brush. So for me personally, I'll probably use one of 2 brushes. If I want texture, then I'll go with this brush. If I want a smooth finish to my slick stick, then I'll go with this brush. And I actually keep my slick stick in a squeezy tube because I am a disgusting human and I can't keep my jars clean. When I get slick stick, I pour it into one of these squeezy tubes. I just get mine off Amazon. I write on it what it is because I'll probably forget. I'll mix it up all on my shelves. And then it makes it really easy to decant, because what I usually do is tip it straight out of this jar. The jar gets all gunked up and then the lid is almost impossible to open unless you're the Hulk. And I'm not. So that's what I do. That's a little Faff Designs tip for you there. So I always decant slick stick. And I just use a little bit at a time. I usually just use a paper plate because then when you finish, you can just throw it away. And like I say, there's a couple of different techniques you can use with slick stick. This is going to be hard to show you on this white vase because it's already white and slick stick is white. But I am going to go for a more kind of textured, rustic effect on this vase. So I'm going to apply this with a pouncing motion, which is going to give me a slight bit of texture on the surface. So I'm just going to make sure the first coat, you'll probably still see some of the original finish, excuse me, underneath. But can you see now how it's got that slight texture? That will dry like that. So depending on whether you want a smooth finish or a slightly textured finish, is down to the application. So it just basically dries like that. If you do get a little bit of unwanted texture, so if you've got a brush stroke in there or something, it does sand very nicely. So if you just give it a sand once it's dry, you can take out any texture that you don't want. This is a really good way of getting the product on your surface and giving you a little bit of texture. So you can do it that way, or if you wanted a more smooth finish, Then you're going to want to go for a synthetic brush, or you could do it with a roller. It works really well with a roller as well. And I'm going straight over the glass on this. So prior to this video, all of these items were cleaned with Dixie Belle's White Lightning. You'll know if you watched my video from a couple of weeks ago that I use a spray bottle with some White Lightning and water mixed in a solution for small projects like this. And then once they were cleaned with White Lightning, I gave them a rinse with clean water and obviously let them dry. So before applying your slick stick, you must always clean. So cleaning first. I'm going to put a little bit more. Hi, Helen. So cleaning is absolutely important. It's the most important piece of prep work that you can do before you do anything. That's a frame, a jug, a second-hand item, a piece of furniture, whatever it is. Cleaning is always the most important piece of prep. Then from there, you either go to scuff sand or to your problem-solving primer, like this one. So if you want a smoother finish, it applies so well. The coverage is actually really good, considering we're going over a super, super shiny surface, and it's white. And I am gonna go over the entire frame of this because I'm going to paint it in a different kind of finish. That's why I'm not taping the frame off. And the one thing with Slick Stick is that for best results, follow the instructions. So there's very few products in the Dixie Belle range, the entire range, where we say, please follow the instructions for best results, because it's a very kind of creative medium, furniture paint. There are no rules with furniture paint. There are best practices. There's things that you can follow that might get you better results than if you did something else. But really, it's a creative medium. That's what it's all about. It's about having fun, being creative, kind of making your own rules. I like to learn the limits, and then I like to break rules. So I like to do things that you shouldn't do. I like to try and get results that you wouldn't get ordinarily without experimenting. But the one thing that I will say about Slick Stick, and like I say, there's only a few products in the range where we really do say, please follow the instructions, because otherwise it ain't going to work. So Slick Stick needs 2 coats to basically work. If you use 1 coat and then you go in with your chalk paint or your silk paint and it hasn't worked, it's because you've only done 1 coat. So it does need 2. So the first coat goes on and then allow it to dry. I normally leave a couple of hours. If it's particularly cold, you might want to leave it a little bit longer, or you might want to put a heater on it. Then the second coat goes on, and then this is the important bit, 24 hours. It needs to be dry for 24 hours before you can start painting. Now, that sounds like it might be slightly inconvenient, but if you consider how much time it's saving you from sanding things and all the rest of it, it really isn't that long at all. And that is because it needs to start drying down properly in order to really stick to that surface. If you go in too soon with your paint, you risk basically reactivating it, because it's a water-based product. You risk reactivating the Slick Stick, and then again, it's not going to do its job. So it's so important to just follow the instructions with Slick Stick. I don't say this very often. I'm just normally like, do what you want, make your own rules up, mix the paints, do the things, go crazy. But Slick Stick, it has never failed me, and I've always followed the instructions on the tub, which state wait 24 hours before. So first coat, let it dry. Second coat, 24 hours before you start even contemplating putting paint on that surface. Just don't do it, because it's not worth it. So it covers really nicely. I'm just doing a really, really quick, rough job here. I'll have to tidy up the edges off camera. But you can see how quickly it's going down. And I do have my little workshop heater on here. That's probably why I've got like a red glow on my face. So this will probably be dry in less than 2 hours, to be honest. And then I can do my second coat, and then from 24 hours from that second coat is from basically when you can start applying your paint. And Slick Stick is compatible with all 3 lines of Dixie Belle Paint. So Terra, chalk mineral paint and silk. You can use Slick Stick with all 3 of those paint lines. Now, the only exception to that is that Terra does have slightly different adhesion properties to the other 2 paint lines. Terra can grip to certain surfaces without the need for Slick Stick. Now, it won't grip to all, but I have noticed that it has grip to something that I didn't expect it to grip to. There's no real rhyme or reason. So I was talking to the other brand ambassadors. Sorry, I need a drink of water. I was talking to the other brand ambassadors, and some have had really good results without using Slick Stick with Terra, and others not so much. So to be on the safe side, if you do have a piece of furniture, either test it first if you want to use Terra, a laminate piece or something like that. Test it first, and give it a sort of 24-hour period before you start sort of meddling with it. But it can sometimes adhere to surfaces that the other paint lines require Slick Stick for, if that makes sense. I hope you're following. So Terra's really the only exception to the rule, but the chalk mineral paint line and the silk line, if you do have something slick, laminate, glass, metal, plastic, anything like that, and you want to paint it, Slick Stick, that's all you need. And it opens up a whole world of things that you can paint. There's nothing off limit, and that's slightly dangerous. But yeah, I know, so my friend who is a content creator for Dixie Belle, she painted her toolbox. She painted a snap-on toolbox pink, and it looks amazing. Also, my other friend who is a Dixie Belle content creator, I'll link them in the comments below. Once I've finished the video, I'll drop them, if I can, in the comments below. I think I can edit it, I'm not sure. She actually paints vases, and her business name is Annie Loveday. I used to be a massive fan of Annie Loveday before I knew her, and now I just think she's just common as muck. No, I'm just joking. She's absolutely amazing at painting vases. So she makes them look really rustic and weathered and old, and beautiful, all with Dixie Belle products. And she always starts with a base of Slick Stick, or a base of 2 coats of Slick Stick, I should say. But she picks her vases up for a couple of quid from the charity shop, and then uses lots of texture and cool things, all Dixie Belle stuff, and makes them look amazing again. And I love her vases. They are so pretty. And it's so good she sells them as well. So if you can't do furniture for whatever reason, you don't have space, you don't have time to take on such a big project, you just can't be bothered with something that big, you can start small. And the possibility, I have painted vases. Where's my vase? They're not as good as my friend's, admittedly. But that is done with chalk mineral paint and terra clay paint, actually, on top of that. So I actually think that looks a little bit like lots of birds have pooed on that, to be honest. But this was a vase that it was like a pink glass. Yeah, you can see the bottom. See, I only do mine for staging. I don't sell mine, mainly because they don't look as nice as hers. But it was like a pink glass, and I think it was like £2 from a charity shop. And I've been playing around with texture and chalk mineral paint and terra, and I've made kind of like a bird poo effect on my vase. I've made like a weathered kind of look. So I did that one. I also did a similar one on a teeny tiny vase. And again, this is all done with a base of slick stick. This is a glass one as well. You can see the bottom. Obviously, I'm not finishing the bottom if I'm just staging with them. But if you're selling them, it might be worth putting a coat of paint on the bottom to match it. But all made possible with slick stick, because there's no way that paint would grip on that surface without slick stick. So it really does open up endless possibilities for you. I should have had a drink of water, but in the I need a waiter. I'm clicking at no one. There's no one here apart from the dogs, and pretty sure they can't bring me a drink of water. So I hope that helped with back to basics slick stick. I think I've covered everything. So just to recap, it only comes in white. It comes in 2 sizes, 16 ounce and a 32 ounce. It lasts for ages. It goes a long way. It covers really well. You can apply it with texture. You can apply it smooth. You can apply it with a roller, a brush, a foam brush thing, natural bristle brush for texture, synthetic brush for a smooth finish, 2 coats. If you take nothing else from this video, 2 coats. First coat, leave it to dry. Second coat, leave it 24 hours. Great question, Sue. You can tint slick stick. So Sue's just asked, can you tint the slick stick? So if you are trying to finish something, if you're trying to paint something with a dark colour, dark blue, dark green, black, those kind of shades, and you have got a white primer, generally speaking, it's basically taking it from one extreme to the other is going to take you another coat of paint. So if you're taking something that's white and you want it black, it's probably going to take you 3 coats. Whereas if you're painting something that's brown to black, probably only going to take you 2. So there is a solution to this, and that is tinting your slick stick. Now, I don't do this because I don't like messing with slick stick because it works so well, and I daren't, but you can. And Amy from AJ's Vintage does this, but you only need a very small amount of paint, and that's just, it depends obviously how much paint you've got on in your tub or your paper plate or something. But I think typically to something of this size, Amy would put like a teaspoon's worth of paint in, and that basically just takes it from being bright, brilliant white to just knocking it down a little bit, and that can just help if you are using a dark colour to cover the white, basically. So you can tint the slick stick. Amy has done it numerous times. I have never done it. I'll hold my hands up and say that I've never done it because I just trust slick stick, and if I start putting paint in, I'm scared. But Amy has done it with great success. Amy's been a brand ambassador longer than me. She's been painting longer than me. She's got way more experience than me. So let's believe Amy, because she knows her stuff. Maybe I will tint slick stick one day, we'll see. But I've never, to be honest, I've never really had the need to tint it either, I don't think. But if that day ever comes, I will. And of course, I will let you know. So I hope that helped with slick stick. I think I've covered everything. Now that Sue's pulled me up on the tinting thing, I probably haven't covered everything because, you know, when I'm live, my brain kind of just goes, kind of takes a walk down the garden. But if I haven't covered everything, I'm sure somebody in the comments with loads of knowledge will pick it up. If you've got any questions on slick stick, again, drop them in the comments. If you have got anything pressing that you want me to answer sort of today, drop a question to my social media channels. You can find me at Faff Designs. You can also subscribe to me on YouTube at Faff Designs. I've only got a very little small YouTube channel, but I'm there, and I'm just about to, over the next few days, I'll be uploading a video on veneer problems. So if that's of any use to you at all, make sure you head over to my channel and subscribe to that. And thank you for joining me on this fine day. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day, and I will see you next week. Bye.